All right, and hello and welcome everyone to the launch of the GEG Tennessee. We're so excited to have everybody here. We've got a great agenda for you tonight, and we just want to just share with you guys. We want to pick your brains a little bit, learn from you guys, and then see how to move forward with this. So, to start with, um, we'll introduce ourselves and just kind of go through the agenda. So, we're going to be talking about just kind of what is a GEG tonight and how it's going to help you. And then we'll be going into what's new in Google Suites, Google certification level 1 and level 2, and then just a Q&A here at the end. So I've got a link here to the show or to the slides here, bit.ly/GEG Tennessee / or dash launch. And I'm going to put that in the chat here in YouTube. That way you guys can follow along with us and you'll have this to get back to later. So I've got a couple of devices running here. So you should have that coming there in the chat. So a couple things first with this launch, it is a little confusing because we do have a total of 4 different places that you can join us. And I know that that seems a little like overkill, but we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our teachers, no matter how you learn and how you get information off the web. So first off, we have the GEG Tennessee website. There's a link here to that. We have the GEG Twitter. For those of you who are on Twitter, you can go to Twitter, follow the hashtag, follow the @ put things out there for everybody to see. You can go to the GEG Facebook group, which I think is where most of us are at. And then GEG Tennessee Google group. That's going to help us to communicate with you better because we're going to be able to email things out to you quickly and better that way. So if you have a chance, go ahead and sign up for all those. The Google group is a form, and then I will add you to that. That just makes things a little easier for us. So as I said, here's the agenda that we're going to be following for tonight. And welcome. This is myself, everybody.
Lance, I'm sorry you froze up on me.
Oh, go ahead and introduce yourself to
Okay.
everybody there, Wanda.
Hi, I'm Dr. Wanda Terrell. I'm the Director of Technology for the Lakeland School System over in the western side of Tennessee, just outside of Memphis.
Awesome. And I'm Lance Key. I'm the Instructional Technology Specialist here in Putnam County, Tennessee. So excited again to have you. Wanda started this group a few years ago. She was talking about, I've been trying to get it going. And I think the pandemic has really made it so that we are dependent upon each other and trying to help each other out because there's just so much work that's out there that there's not enough time to do it. And if we can help each other, then it's really, makes our jobs easier. So we've got a couple of Google friends that's with us tonight. I'm actually going to stop the show and bring them on one by one here. Let's go to this mode here. And first off, we have from Sunnyvale, California, we have Miss May. Miss May, tell us who you are. Tell us what you do at Google.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lance and Wanda. So nice to have you guys lead the GEG here. I'm super excited. So for everyone who's tuning in, my name is May. I am the program owner here on the Google side for our trainer program. So I know if you guys are trainers or in our program, a lot of you guys have been communicating with me directly or on our Google Groups private site. I just wanted to jump in and say hi and I'm so inspired and proud of Lance and Wanda for relaunching and, really invigorating this GEG group because starting now and I'm leading the GEGs in North America. I feel like there's such an untapped potential for getting educators just, all across the US really connected with other educators to really learn from each other. There's this whole community that's outside of our trainer group where they may not know as much as our trainers here and really just want to learn from them. So I think this is such a great opportunity. You guys creating this in Tennessee for the local educators there is just, I'm really excited and to see, what comes out of it. And so, props to you, Lance and Wanda. Just really excited for you guys. And thanks for letting me come in and say hi.
Yes, ma'am. We're glad to have you tonight. All right, and then we have a special guest that we're going to have joining us tonight, all the way from Sydney, Australia, my good friend, Mr. Brent Server. And most of you know Brent from his times here in Tennessee. Brent, you're muted right now, so let me have you hit the unmute button there. And Brent, welcome.
G'day, I guess I'm supposed to say now, or hello. Yeah, no, I really appreciate the invite, both to Lance and Wanda, and congratulations on your revival, I guess you could say, of the GEG in Tennessee. I was actually just, thanks to the power of the cloud and that Google's been in it, pretty beginning, I was going through my Google Drive here. I feel it's not quite Christmas, but I feel like the ghost of Christmas past, because I was going through my drive and I pulled up the first event that I recall having, potentially one of Google for Education's, our first events was in Tullahoma City. And that was actually November 6th, 2014, which is insane to think about. So yeah, I'd actually just celebrated my 6th Googleversary on Cinco de Mayo of all days. And yeah, I've been exciting. It's been exciting to see kind of the Google growth throughout the globe. Obviously, I've had the opportunity to work with schools across the Southeast and Tennessee, and have been in Australia for about 3 years now, which is crazy to think about, but it's always nice. And thanks to technology, we're able to connect like this. And I guess I want to say also, it's it seems like the world is slowly getting back to a new normal, and I hope everyone out there has been staying well. And yeah, just appreciate all the hard work that you all do to keep our students excited and learning, regardless of where they might be learning from.
Well, thank you for joining us, Brent. It's always a pleasure. I miss the coffee. I'm sure right now you're working from home. You probably miss the coffee there at the office also. You got your own there?
Not quite the same, but Australians are very particular about their coffee, that's for sure.
I'll tell you, the great thing about while I was in Australia with you there was not only before, I would go to a breakfast place. They got the best breakfast in Australia and the best coffee places. But then once you get to the Google office, they have y'all still have two baristas there every day?
Yep. One of those Google perks, that's for sure.
I had long blacks and flat whites almost every day there. So thank you, Brent, for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're going to jump into the show and just kind of walk through the presentation that we had for you. Here was a picture of Brent and I. I couldn't find any other pictures of him, so this was him with his G-Day shirt on while I was in Australia with him. So that was some fun times. I pushed this out a few days ago. I stole this from somebody, not going to lie, but this is our GEG Tennessee group. As you can see, we might be a little wacky and crazy, but we like to have a good time. And I feel like that we can all learn from each other and work together. So Wanda and I have known each other for a few years. We've been able to work together and help each other a lot over the last few years. So this is what we're here to do. We're here to meet the needs of the educators, no matter where you're at. If you're local or you're global, are you in a school setting or in some type of remote setting, on any device, anytime, anywhere, we want to make sure that you're able to meet the needs of your students. So we feel like that we need to meet your needs. So we hope that through this group and the communication, and I've already learned so many things out here. Kathy Pryor, I see that you're on here. You pushed out some great things. And Kathy, I'm going to be reaching out to you probably for some help, because I know that you're on a 120-day contract there in Sumner County right now. I know you got a grandbaby, but we can use you a little bit. I can use your help. So what is GEG Tennessee? It is an independently run community of educators. So Google does kind of sponsor us, but it's us that's really working through this together. We're here to inspire and empower each other to meet the needs of the students beyond tech in the classroom and beyond. So especially with things that's going on right now. We're going to connect with meetups, monthly sessions, or on social media. So we do a lot on social media right now. And it's really here to share, learn, and collaborate. So one thing that Wanda and I have been discussing is this group has grown from about 10 to 12 to about 600 in a couple of weeks. And the reason for that growth isn't anything crazy that we did, but we feel like that it's more of the pandemic and what we've got going on right now in the world. We need support. Teachers are looking for support. And Google Classroom has been a savior to all of us, I believe, because we're able to put our lessons on there. Kids have been able to stay structured and see what's going on. Parents have got one place to go. So we feel like we need that. That being said, we are looking for captains to help us out. So a GEG captain, here is the definition of, there's 4 different captains. We have Empower captains, we have Inspire captains, Share captains, and Learn captains. We need your help with this, guys. Wanda and I cannot work with 600 of you. Wanda, did we hit 600 yet?
I think we were close. Let me pull it up and see.
I've kind of sent a challenge out earlier tonight because I knew we were in the 590s. So I was hoping that we got it shared out to a few people. But Wanda and I can't meet the needs of all 600 of you. She's pretty good, and I've seen her present a lot. But we need you guys to help us out. So there's an application button right there, that captain application button right there. If you want to be a captain, if you want to help out, pick which one of these that you feel like is your niche where you can help us at. Give us kind of your qualifications, and then we'll get back to you because we are going to need some help with that. Oh, we're at 597 according to captain. All right. So
we could hit 600 during this session. Let's do it.
All right. So one other thing is we want to know, how frequently do you guys want to meet? How much do y'all want to get online? Now, this doesn't mean that we can't do other events and fun things, but scheduling these out. So I know that Wanda is pretty crazy busy, and so am I here in Putnam County. But we want to help you guys. So I've got a Google form I'm putting in here. If you could go to that Google form right quick, it's just one question. It says, how much do you guys want to meet? Do y'all want to meet monthly? Do you want to meet bi-monthly? Do you want to meet, we got to meet, I think, at least 4 times a year. So, and we're going to have other live events too, hopefully, that we're going to be able to offer and sponsor, like TETCs and stuff like that, and have a presence there. We already do anyway, but just kind of bring us all together and have that family atmosphere. So anyways, just looking at those things. We got Wanda now. She's going to go through all the new cool and neat things that's going on with G Suite in education.
All right, you're going to have to advance the slides for me since you're on the driver's side here. So going to start with Google Teach from Home. So the way that I look at this is it's like a one-stop shop. When you go to teachfromhome.google, you get the opportunity to have things from the teacher's perspective, but also from the community and from the family. And that family link is the thing that I think has been the most beneficial, especially for districts that have already been using Google a bit, but maybe hadn't done a whole lot of training with parents on this. You can go to that website, click on families or parents, I can't remember what it says, but you can go there and it's just little bitty tags, little cards of succinct little answers to those most common questions. It's really a very valuable resource and something worth exploring if you haven't had the chance to look at that yet. The next slide highlights the new integration of Google Meet with Google Classroom. This has been a big savior in my district. We were trying to kind of hack together ways to have students using Google Meet with their teachers, but prevent them from creating their own meets and doing all of that. This solved those problems. And so teachers can go into their Google Classroom, they can go into their settings, and they can generate a Meet link. You can publish that into the classroom, or you can keep it private just to you and share it when you need to. That tends to be what my teachers are doing. But the thing that I really like about it is that when you're ready, you're done with that Meet, you can go in there and reset that link, and now the kids can't go back and join the old Meet. And that's been a big plus for us. So the next slide shares a few, I added a couple more, useful extensions that you can add to Google Chrome that will help you with Meet. If you hadn't noticed, Google Meet and Gmail kind of got together there and merged into a nice little sidebar that's handy there, so you can start a Meet from there. I wouldn't do that with kids, but it's handy there if you pop up an email and you need to meet with a colleague real quick, you can just start a Meet like there. The Google Meet extensions that are there, these are not from Google, okay? These are independently developed. They add different functionality, and it could be that they may not be needed, you know, for forever. It could be Google says, hey, that's a cool feature. Let me see if we can add that to Meet. So don't be surprised, you know, new things pop up all the time in Google land. But so there's an extension that allows you to see your Meet in grid view beyond the limitations of the tiled view that's available inside of Google Meet. Nod allows users to do the thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing, along with some emojis. Meet attendance will let you track who's been in the Meet. Meet chat transcribe, pretty logical there. Clay is doing some really good work with these extensions. And then I added this last one I came across at the end of last week. And if you launch that extension and you turn on your closed captions, it will actually grab all of those closed captions and allow you to send them to a Google Doc when you're done with your session. So you basically end up with a transcript of your Meet. So that those are the handy Google Meet extensions that have been floating around recently. So the next slide talks a little bit about what's changing. At least on my end, these things have rolled out already. But depending on what your domain is set up, you may not have some of these yet. For Google Sites, really excited about site templates. That's going to make life of your Google admins a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier for them to come up with templates to share inside the district. It'll also be handy for coming up with some templates for student portfolios, possibly through Google Sites. Like the announcement banners, it's such a simple little addition to be able to add a banner across the top with a button, an action button. It's such a simple fix, but one that just makes my heart soar. It's just so handy. And then for families who are using the family link accounts, it allows a little bit of extra functionality there for Google Sites. If you are in a Google Meet, you can now present a Chrome tab, which allows you to not only share video like you would be able to through the Meet, but it'll actually grab the audio now. So that was an issue there for a while, but now you can share the tab, and that video with the audio will get shared with everybody in the Meet. And then the next slide just shares a couple of services that if you've never had the chance to sit down and explore them, quarantine time is a great time to go and do that. Google Arts and Culture, I mean, I could spend all day, all week there and constantly find new things. Not just about arts and culture, but lots of wonderful historical kind of collections of information, like if you were going to an art museum or something like that. Make sure to also check out the 360 videos that are in there. They're quite entertaining. And then experiments with Google, a variety of things there to go around and play with. Some are more practical than others, but they're all highlighting what technology can do, which is it's a pretty endless thing in the hands of the right developers. And experiments with Google highlight some of those things that those developers are able to do. So that's a lot of stuff, but you have access to the slide deck. those links are active, so you can click on those and take you to those sites and let you do some exploring.
All right.
And
So
now Lance is going to dive into some Google certification information.
yeah, and before we do that, everybody take a couple of seconds and in the chat there, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody. Maybe put where you're at, where you teach, what you teach, maybe your Twitter handle in there, just so that everybody knows who you are and can contact you. So I always believe that we're better together.
Amen.
And we can lean on each other. And there's some names. I see some names like Maury Wood in here. Great presenter, always has great information. By the way, I think we're sitting at 599 right now.
We are. I'm sitting there looking at it, waiting for 600 to pop in.
So we need 600 before this show is over. So somebody, Brent, go join. I don't. No, I'm kidding. Somebody go join. We'll get to that 600 mark.
Personal account.
What was that, Brent?
I said join for my personal account and then my other personal account.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. So we're going to talk about Google certifications for a few minutes. And this is something that's a little near and dear to my heart. I have been a Google certified trainer for about, I think, 5 years now. So, Wanda, I know you've been, 7? Is that right?
It's mid 2014, so it's almost 7.
Okay, so for a while now, I've done a lot of training all over Tennessee. I know that Wanda has, Sam Brooks, my boss, he has. There's many of you other trainers out there that have done trainings. I have trained a lot of you guys that are really sharp, and you could go take definitely the level 1 test right now and pass it with no problem. Level 2, you might have to study and dig in a little bit, but I feel like that you probably could pass it also, no problem. So level 1, you'll notice just a couple of keywords here in level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is to demonstrate proficiency of a variety of Google apps and their application to enhance teaching. I think I lost a word there. Enhance teaching. All right. Level 2, to demonstrate mastery. So we're going from proficiency to mastery. That sounds like education words, of Google apps and their application to transform teaching and learning. Okay, so we're looking to enhance and transform. So like I said, most of you guys can already pass level 1 right now if you went and took it. Level 2, you might have to study a little bit, but I feel like there's a lot of you out there that can go ahead and do that too. So level 1, it's $10. And I'll give you a hint. I don't know if this is the case every year, but if you go to TETC, generally, and Brent, I may not supposed to be saying this, so you might want to plug your ears here. Generally, there is someone from Google at TETC, and it's at the end of the year, and they have free vouchers because Google buys these free vouchers, and they have to give them away. So at the end of the year at TETC, which is usually in December, there's someone usually that will give you a free voucher while you're there. Now, what I have to say about that is you need to go ahead and be taking it now because you need to get that certification. But it's a 3-hour, level 1 is 3 hours and it's $10. It's pass fail with 80% cutoff. They do have to have access to your webcam and you have to use Chrome. Okay. I suggest an incognito window when you do that. I think they do also. Level 2 is $25, so it costs a little bit more. It's also a 3-hour. It's pass fail, access to webcam and Chrome. Now, I did the trial back in December, I believe, of last year. Wanda, do you know, have they gone strictly ProctorU now where they're proctoring?
They had, and then there were some issues. So I think right now it's open to both, but I'm not 100% sure.
Brent, do you know that for sure, one way or the other?
I don't want to quote.
Okay, I understand. Sorry to put you on the spot there. All right. So when I took it,
not my area of expertise.
Understand. When I took it, I had to use ProctorU, and there was somebody who actually watched me the whole time take the level 2 test. It wasn't that bad. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't study for it and flew right through it and passed. So I feel like most of you probably can too. We've got a few resources here to help you do this, and I'm not going to lie, I stole this. So Stephanie Howe, she's on a podcast with me, Get Inspired and Innovate. She had most of this, and I just said, hey, let me have that. And she was gracious enough to do that. She's also known as Steph Bad, for anybody who wants to know. There's a story behind it, though, too. You've got sample questions here. So if you click on this link, it will take you out to sample questions that you might see on this test. You've got training that goes out to the Google Training website, so the Teacher Center. And then you've got a matrix of just the breakdown of everything that's going to be on there. Here's your level 2. You can see it's very similar, same way. The only difference in level 2 is we did add Eric Kurt's checklist. And for those of you who don't follow Eric Kurtz, he's out of Ohio. He makes excellent content. And I suggest all of you look at what he's got. He's got things that he's archived over the last few years that I still stuff from 3 years ago that he made. It's great. So these are the different certifications that you can get. So you got your Certified Educator level 1, level 2. You got your Google Certified Trainer and your Google Certified Innovator. And that's the kind of the order that you need to do them in. You don't have to do Trainer to do Innovator. I feel like it probably helps so that you understand the googliness of it a little more. One suggestion that I do have, though, is for those of you needing training this summer, which I'm sure, Wanda, you're getting booked up too. I've got school districts calling left and right. So if you want to get those trainings in and you need us to do those for you, contact Wanda, Sam, or I, and we can get that training set up for you. But I'm getting pretty booked. How about you, Wanda?
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be a crazy year because everybody's seeing that. Hey, we need Google Classroom because we need a way to communicate this stuff and communicate it. So parents and students and everybody else can see it.
Hey, Lance, let me jump in for a second. So y'all don't think that you can only get that training through us. There's great resources that Lance is going to point you to that you can do a lot of that training yourself online.
Exactly. So, and there's other certified trainers that are in this group with us. So, if you see somebody that puts their name in here and they're close to you and you need training, reach out to them and, they'll be glad to help you. So here's just a few tips. I'll let you read through this so we're not taking too much of your time tonight. But here's a few tips that I suggest that you use. Main ones is, 1, Chrome OS, make sure it's up to date. 2, incognito window, make sure you have the webcam there and ready. Make sure you have food and a snack and go to the bathroom beforehand because it is a 3-hour-long test. I saw my name in red. I'm like, oh, last time I saw my name in red, that was bad. So anyways, here's a couple of tips for you. Used to, we could, you can go ahead and pin your tab up there. Mark your questions as review if you need to get back to it. And don't skip questions, answer those, and move on quickly. There will be a clock that's on there. No human scores it, so it will mark that for you, and your results will immediately come back to you. So it's really quick. You'll get that back. So anyways, don't overthink things. Just kind of work through that, prepare, and then trust that you're ready to go. Here's a little card game. I'm not for sure who made this, but it's made with Google Slides. It's a couple of scenarios that's out there that you just open this up. It gives you a little card, a scenario of things that's going on. You answer that scenario and move on. I think it's kind of a little fun game that you can do there. And then last, here's a little checklist for your level 1, your level 2, your review documents. Some of these have been made by, I think some of them are Alice Keeler, Casey Bell, some other things like that. But all kinds of good resources that are here. All right. So we're going to move to the last section now. I know we scheduled this for an hour, but I don't want to hold you guys any longer. So let's a little Q&A right quick. So any questions that you might have that you want Wanda or I or Brent to answer, since Brent's hung out with us, I appreciate you staying the whole time, Brent. If you got any googly questions that you want to know, just shoot them here in the YouTube chat, and we'll try to answer those for you.
While we wait for questions to potentially come in, do you mind if I share my screen really quickly?
No.
I'm going to put you on the spot now.
All right, go for it.
Let me see here. Just take everyone down memory lane really quickly. I've been sitting here multitasking and doing all my Drive research. So I've just popped up. Can you see that?
Hold on. Yep.
There we go.
There it goes.
So I used to, you can see here when I covered the southeastern United States, I'd go in and pull all the data and figure out, the way that our team often works is we try to figure out where the hot spots are. And this is, you can see this is a map from 2016, but I recognize a few names here in the chat. Say, Kathy Pryor, good to see you there, and probably some others that I've stumbled upon. But yeah, I imagine that this has changed quite drastically in 4 or 5 years' time. The green were the counties. There you go. And I mentioned Tullahoma. That's Franklin, Tullahoma. But the green were the school districts back at this time that had adopted, G Suite and some Chromebook adoption. And that's back in the day, as you can say, when we used to go and try to find schools to work with and to herald their story and to hopefully get others to learn from great use cases. Yeah, I imagine that this coloring would look a lot different now. Yeah, just thought I'd share that. And one other quick thing I was going to say that's fun too. I always like to bring up the different Google logos as I look back here at the Tullahoma slide deck from last edit, November 7th, 2014. But back then we're, still talking about Google and our 10X approach to things. But yeah, as we think about the future and what's to become given the new normal we live in, it's always fun to go back and look at how Google's changed over time, even just from our logo. I always used to laugh and say, I can remember a very distinct point in my time in middle school. I grew up in West Virginia, by the way. So I'll come back here. Those of you up in this part of the state, I'm not too far away from you. I grew up in Bluefield, West Virginia. But I always like to say, I remember in middle school, I stopped using this crazy thing called AskJeeves.com and switched to this crazy thing called Google, and how much has changed in, roughly 20 years. And as we watch the world change as quickly on a daily basis, and it's hard to say what it'll look like in the future. But again, I just want to give many kudos to you all out there for rolling with the changes, as REO Speedwagon would say. Yeah, hopefully we'll be here with you all for that journey into the future.
It's funny. I actually was talking about Hotbot and Alta Vista today. I'm sure you probably don't remember either of those, but
I do. Oh yeah, I do.
All right. Your dog pile, yes. All right, so we got. I was going to say
we did have a few questions come in.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I want to say hi to Rick Ballou. He's I'm one of his mentor. He was in NYC 19, making his sense of humor known. So is Google more than a search engine? Oh yeah.
Is that one directed to me? I'll answer that with another question. After Google, if it could technically be its own search engine, what would be the second largest search engine in the world?
Ooh, I know.
Give a minute. Any guesses?
YouTube.
But and then my politically correct answer would be no. It's I look back at all that we do, and it's like it all is about that mission that's making the world's information accessible. And Lance, you said, without classroom, life might look a lot different right now. And it's really cool to see, even in our last earnings call just a few weeks ago, Sundar, who was the CEO of Google, but now that Larry Page and Sergey Brin have stepped down, he's now the CEO of Alphabet. And for the first time in an earnings call, the education team got a call out. Awesome. And so even though we're a very small part of a much larger company, the work that we're doing, I think still kind of boils up to that mission. And it's like helping you all make information available when people need it, where they need it. So
we appreciate the work y'all do, I'll tell you.
Hopefully that's more than just a search engine, but definitely that's what pays the bills.
All right, now a couple other questions we got here. Are they working towards a way to block students from sharing screens during Google Meets?
So I don't believe there's been a blog post yet, but and given that I can't ensure everyone on the call is under NDA, I will just say it's interesting to look at the product teams and how quickly they've had to shift, given really going from in school to learning from home for months on end overnight. A lot of effort has been shifted from a product perspective into the meets area. Obviously, we'll continue to develop on all of our educational products. But one thing that I'll mention is you should soon be getting more information on a number of features, and there's a Google slide, Google Sheet where our team globally has been putting in all of the requests that have been coming in across schools, and I think it's like 200 various requests, and you can just see where the product teams have been hacking away at trying to bring all of those to the forefront. So we're definitely listening, and we know that there's some great, some other really strong options out there for what you might want to use, but I think you'll hopefully have many of the features that you've been looking for probably by the end of this month or sometime into next.
Yeah, and I will say I think I received something, and of course when I receive it, I never know whether I can start sharing it right then. I always wait for somebody else to say it, but I did receive something today about the updates and meets that's coming out, so that could be in there. As soon as I know that I can share it, I'll share it in all of our groups and things.
And Wanda, I was going to say, you were mentioning too, I mean, Google as a consumer, Google made the decision to make the advanced for meets or the meets available in Gmail as well. So I think that's a testament to Google's commitment to helping people, outside of the education space as well, stay connected. So yeah, that's another sign that there's a lot of development going on in the meets world.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, so we got a question here about reference schools. What makes them a reference school? How do you apply? I've heard this one a lot. I know that we've applied to be a reference school before, and aren't they working to revamp that right now, Brent?
Gosh, I wish May were still on because that's a little bit more her world.
Yeah,
I will say
that the one who told me that.
Yeah, the U.S. model is a little bit different than the international model, just because the adoption rates in the United States are just pretty crazy across the country. Maybe what we can do, Lance, is let's maybe follow up in a group. I don't want to speak for the U.S. team in the event that it has changed there, because it is a little bit unique to the rest of the world. You definitely apply. Basically, what I can say is you would work with my counterpart who works with your state in the U.S. And they kind of work with you to make sure, to verify that the story's there, and basically what they're just looking for, those unique use cases of how Google products across G Suite and Chromebooks, and then any other kind of those expeditions and other things that are maybe not core products, but they're looking for stories to share, right? We always say, I can sit here and talk about our products until I'm blue in the face, but the most meaningful thing is for schools to actually get to learn from other schools about how you all are using it in ways we couldn't have imagined. So that would be my advice, is if you've got those unique stories, bring those to the forefront. And then that's really what helps reference schools stand out. Awesome.
All right. I don't think I see any more questions. So if anybody has any, throw those in there right quick. Just to kind of wrap things up, ways to connect, of course, again, is through our Google group, which is a Google form right now. You'll send that to me, and then I'll add you to the group. That'll help us communicate through email with you guys, through the Facebook group, which is where most of our members are at right now. Wanda, we hit 600 yet?
We're still at 599.
Oh man,
I know.
I feel like a failure tonight, but that's okay. Okay. Also on Twitter, so the Twitter's there. You can go and like the Twitter page if you want. The website is here. It's still kind of under construction. We'll be posting this meeting from tonight on there, so that if you want to get back to it, or I did get a message a minute ago that one of the school filters blocked it because it's live. So hopefully we can get them around that filter once it's not live. Then go ahead and work on your certifications. We would love to see all of you guys get level 1, level 2 certified. and those that want to go ahead and get your Google certified trainer. And then last, if you're willing to help Wanda and I out, we do need help. All of you know that I need help anyway. But we need help because, we would like to have some of you guys on here talking, not just she and I all the time. And y'all can help with the workload, and we can share and help everybody in Tennessee. So if you want to nominate yourself, I know a lot of us aren't great at self-promotion. That's okay. Go ahead. We need help, and we want you to self-promote yourself just so we can see who's out there, who's available. So click on that. That's a Google form.
All right, Lance, we have hit 600.
We have hit 600.
And
Yes.
Rick, even though he's not from Tennessee, is our 600th member.
Thank you, Rick. I'm no longer a failure. I appreciate that. All right, guys. So let's see. Mari has a question here. He said, I can talk. Oh, okay. That's a statement. He can talk about school YouTube stations. Yes, Mari, we'd love to have you on here and have you talk about that. Because that's one thing that I think as we're moving forward, getting repositories together for schools to be able to push out just in case we don't go back, how to do that, how to do announcements. Oh, there you go. Kathy Pryor says, now let's shoot for 1,000. I like the way you think, Kathy. We're going to put you in charge of the.
She's the membership drive.
There you go,
Captain.
Yeah. So Mari, yes, we'd love to have you talk to us sometime about YouTube stations for schools. All right. Anyone else? Comments, statements, questions?
I want to thank everybody again for joining in.
Javier, I can't say where that is. Anybody?
Oh, goodness.
Brent, here's a question that I'd better show.
I was just saying, gosh, are you recording this? Let me see here. You used to be able to, oh gosh. I was going to pull up, we have an internal where you can see all of the offices that you visited and yeah, the number that you've badged into. I'll say is there's a fiber. Is there still a fiber office in Nashville? I think
there is. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been to the one in Tennessee, unfortunately, but gosh, I think I've been to about 10 or 12 at this point. But I have to say, I still really like the New York office a lot. I mean, as cool as it is to see the Sydney Harbor Bridge from where I am now, the New York office is just like a microcosm of New York City, where you're just stacked on top of each other, and the engineers and everyone's just kind of. It's a really good sense of community. Not that Sydney's not great, but we are in 3 different buildings, and so it's just it felt a lot like New York being in New York, but it's a really cool office. But yeah,
we won't send that to Swan. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I'm very glad to be here. Don't get me wrong. I never lived near the beach, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, it's cool. Cool to see, and yeah, the growth over time, and yeah, thanks to you all for helping us do that and take our products more places. There's even one I was just quickly here looking. I always like to see. I was on a call not long ago with someone. We have, believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 offices in Africa. And I was on a call one time with someone sitting in an office in Africa. And I was like, wow, who knew? So anyway, thanks for letting me be on. I appreciate it. It's great to see.
All right. Thanks, guys. We're going to sign off for now. And until next time, actually, let me pull up the meeting. It looks like everybody wants to meet bi-monthly, which works for me. 6 times a year. That's 70% of the data, and I'll actually put that somewhere so you guys can see it, just so you know that I'm not lying to you. 70% of the data says that bi-monthly would work great. So we'll try to arrange that so that we can do this every 2 months. And then we'll see you out at conferences and everything else. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're signing off now. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.